Hey, welcome back, folks. This is the second part of probably three parts of how to succeed, how to win. Specific tactics, techniques, approaches of how to put yourself in the best position to win, to succeed. One of the things that people have told me that have gone through the whole 11 volume set of the monograph, How to Win, is that some of the things were brand new to them. Some of the things did not apply, did not make sense to them, so they let it go. Other of them said, that's something that I need to remember in the future, but I'm not quite ready yet to employ that. Still, other people have said, geez, I did that earlier on in my career, and I need to reinvent that right now and remodel that right now. So that's why I'm recording these, that you have a chance to hear this for the first time and then go back at your leisure. Again, after the end of every one of these sessions, reflect on your notes, what we covered, and choose just one keeper that makes the most sense to you, and then see if you can apply that keeper in your rehearsals or your practices, as well as lower level performances for over the next couple of weeks or so. These are not just cookie cutter approaches that you can just paste on you. They have to be practiced, refined, and integrated. I'm going to share with you a couple things today in this session that you probably never heard of. Certainly, the first times I heard these things from a variety of performing artists or business people or athletes of all types, it didn't sound right to me. It sounded way too far out there, magical, almost mystical. And the more I heard from other athletes and performing artists, sometimes using different words or angles on it, the more sense some of these made. Okay, you ready? Here's the first one. I've heard this all best summarized under the one word, and that is connection. Make a connection with your implement, whether it is a baseball bat or a violin, or for woodworkers, their favorite chisel or hammer, and really feel the connection. Some people say, well, whatever your implement is should be an extension of you. Yes, but it goes much farther than that. I've heard violinists tell me, and a lot of times when people tell me this, it's almost under hushed tones, as if they're embarrassed to share with them the others about the level and the depth of their connection. Violinists have told me their first connection with the violin when they start rehearsing is with the little chin strap, with the little chin pad that they put on either a handkerchief or just use it. That was their first connection. And then their second connection was with the bow. Third connection was the positions on the strings. That it was a series of connections. Great golfers say, take this an extension that other people have used in different ways. They say they take a hand on the grip, and it's almost as if the grip starts gripping them, so they don't have to strangle it. I've had guitar players say when they put on their guitar to practice or perform, they really take their time of the pressure the strap makes on their shoulder, that if they're sitting down, the pressure the guitar makes on their thighs. Then they go through the pressure of their pick, and then feeling the different frets as they go along. And good guitar players have told me the similar thing. They say after a while, the strings play me. Instead of me making chords on it, they're saying that the strings connect with me, almost as if it's some kind of living being. It could be. It could be. That's how deep the connection is. Once you make the connection with your implement, your tool, your instrument, then it's easier to stay connected with it. And once you start being connected with that, you can start being connected with mind and body, emotions, spirit, soul, if you will. That starting out with making physical connections opens up the pathways of making more complete connections. Then sometimes you can connect better with the ground or where you're sitting, and then make more connections with if you're hitting something with a ball or a puck or a shuttlecock, then you start making connections with that. Rod Laver, the great tennis player, said his only goal was to make pure connection with the ball on every shot. He didn't care about his opponent. His opponent was just hitting the ball to him, and his job was to make a pure strike on the ball. So he started connecting with that. And then you can start connecting yourself with the overall performance and the competitive situations. It may be a secret to some folks. A lot of people are embarrassed to say those things, but see from step one how well you can connect yourself. Rowers make a connection with the oars and with their feet in the stirrups, and also making connections with the boat and with the water. It keeps on extending, but start with your connections with what you can immediately control. Really feel that, sense it. Okay. See what you can apply on that. Here are some things, other things, and we're going to go through these. Take notes wherever you can, or convert it or translate it into words or pictures that make the most sense for you. As I alluded to 2 volumes ago, make a game plan for each and every performance. Some people write it out. Some people mentally rehearse it in great detail of what their openings are going to be, how their consistencies and rhythms are going to be, how their closings will be. If nothing else, people tell me it keeps the mind occupied in a productive, proactive kind of way, instead of just trying to be empty-minded or allowing things to get to you. It keeps the minds connected with themselves and with the moment. Also remember that most game plans are blueprints, and most blueprints never unfold the way you planned it. That great philosopher, Mike Tyson, said everyone has a game plan until he gets whomped in the face. So be ready to modify your game plans in the actual performance. Okay. Here's another secret one. When I first heard it from a series of different martial artists in different types of disciplines, all of whom were at least first-degree black belts. A couple of them were second and third-degree black belts. They said the similar things, and when they first presented it to me, I didn't quite understand it, and they had to explain it to me. So I'm going to read to you the full explanation of it. So, okay, listen here. One unique strategy is from the martial arts. It's called play to tie. No, this does not mean you're playing defensively, nor playing not to lose. Instead, it means not focusing on winning by playing easily and doing everything well. If opponents are with you, are playing to win, they are expending a lot of energy to reach that goal, to try to win. The martial artists say that you initially play to tie. Just keep on blocking and hanging in there. Wait for a mistake or an opening, then take advantage and pounce on it. Play to tie, they said, keeps you patient and immersed in the moment. As we talked about, being in the qualities you have to exude and in the processes. Then the winning may take care of things on its own. So go into it with saying, I just want to go out there and tie. You're staying engaged, you're staying competitive, and you're ready to respond. Here's another one that some people have never heard of before. And that is, when you feel tempted throughout the performance, near the end specifically, when you feel tempted to force or jam something, do just the opposite. Easy does it. Give yourself a greater margin of error. For golfers, when they're tempted to jam in an approach shot to a green that is well protected and the pin is really in a section of the green that's hard to reach, Uh, Take out one more club so the ball goes a little longer, choke down on it, and aim for the fat of the green. So a lot of good winners say, whenever I'm forced and whenever I'm tempted to force something, to jam something in there, I do just the opposite. So they learn from their temptations. If you're a part of a theater troupe or musical orchestra or sports team, pick up your teammates when they make mistakes. The team is more powerful than one person, and the hallmark of a good team is how well you do during the tough times. It's easy to be positive and supportive and lighthearted when everything's going well. Can you be that way during the tough times? Realize that when a person makes a mistake, they're all doing the best job they can at that moment. Implicitly trust and believe in your teammates. Tell them that I'm on your side. One thing some teams do at the beginning of the season is some great coaches will say to the team, all right now, I want you now to apologize. Say it out loud. I'm sorry. And everybody laughs and doesn't understand that. And the coach, really good coaches, say after that, saying, that's the last time this entire season you should apologize. We all know we're doing our best at any one point. So no need after right now to apologize. The next one is 2 words starting with the word D come in important for a lot of people who have this successful winning mentality. Dedication and devotion are pathways to lasting, long-term, enduring success. With these 2 words, dedication and devotion, break it down and really see about what these 2 words specifically mean for you. Then live these principles. So dedication and devotion. Yeah, people say, yeah, I'm dedicated to this. Yes, I'm devoted to that. What does it mean? Be specific. Don't leave yourself in those generalities. Here's when, back from the level 100 series, we talked about relative level of intensity. Remember the Yerkes-Dodson curve, where you can improve your performance with a little more intensity just to a point. And if you go too far, cross the fine line, your performance goes right off of a cliff. So become aware of your optimal arousal and intensity levels. Good performers say they stay 1 to 2 steps short of that fine line where the performance drops off. You don't know where the fine line is until you cross over it. So in your rehearsals or practices, when you've pushed too hard, when you've tried too hard, and you've gone over the fine line, over the cliff, then say, oh, okay, that's when I need to back off. That when I was tempted to do something, I needed to back off. So stay 1 or 2 steps short of that fine line. Here's a good one. People have said in similar ways: play with purpose. Don't hesitate. Be what we call the twin C's: clear and committed in each thing you do. Be clear in your mind, purposeful and single focused, and be committed. Throw yourself into it in everything you do. Here's one that I didn't notice until people start explaining these things to me, in terms of longer the activity, the greater the chance for temporary ebbs. These may take the forms of bad luck, the opponent's great play, bad calls from some kind of referee, and drops in your physical or mental energy. Remember, we talked about these mental sticking points. Be aware of those if you have the same long-term patterns of. The Scottish golfers have a wonderful phrase. They say, wait 'em out. Wait them out. They will pass these ebbs, as long as you don't exacerbate it by becoming angry or frustrated or pushing too hard. Wait them out, especially in a longer term activity. They will pass. Here's one wonderful one that people told me about in terms of handling pressure. And they said this: be so far up in the activity that you can choke and still win. How wonderful is that? Be so far on top that you can still choke and still win. We had in volume 6 of this, we had a class there that had a wide variety of performers, performing artists, business people, students, coaches, as well as athletes. And the performing artists all grouped together once, and they talked, and turned out to be about 45 minutes. I thought it'd be 10 minutes, but it turned out to be 45 minutes. And the performing artists said these things. And that's things that athletes or business people or students can translate to their own frame of reference. Stage performers speak about staying in your light. When on stage, the spotlights are often so bright you cannot see the audience. They said, enjoy being in this cone of light that's on you when immersed within your own performance. The audience is still there, but in a way they are not there. You are just in your cone of light. They said this: initially, keep your dreams private, especially early on about your dreams of performance and an advancement in your career. If you talk about it too early, it saps your energy. Dreams are your secret personal quests, they said. As we mentioned a couple of moments ago, believe and rely on your troupe or ensemble or orchestra members or even crew. Nothing builds a team stronger than genuinely supporting each other. They said, one person said, being supportive is like a good jock strap. Okay, so be good jock straps. Another one, they said, actors had this phrase. They said, when you slip up, don't give up, but start back up. So stay up. A couple longer-term successful performing artists said this: behind every action, there must be some kind of purpose. Break the habit of just acting for its own sake of action. Perform each little part with intensity, with intent, with connection, with purity. The little things make a difference. I had a couple players who were great at chess or the Chinese game Go, and they said, in chess, value your pawns, which are the little qualities, the little processes. They said God is in the details. Every pawn has the potential of becoming a queen. This is going down memory lane for me, because sometimes these are just wonderful things that I would just remember in the impact they had with it. This is almost a cliche, and cliches are there because they are true. And that is, there are games within a game. Win most of these little contests. You may not focus on the ultimate win, the ultimate success. The only way to do that is look at the different parts, stages, sequences, the games within a game. A good opening, going on top early, feeling rhythm early, handling pressure from the first parts, learning how to maintain that, learning how to prevent the little ebbs and mental sticking points, learning how to have end games, plural, of how to close it out. So break down your big performances into a series of little performances. There are games within a game, and learn how to succeed in most of these little games. I had one writer who was also a barrel racer, rodeo barrel racer. She said something beautifully. She said, if you have awareness, poise, class, and integrity, you are already a winner before the performance. Plus, you possess the cornerstones for future victories. So if you have awareness, poise, class, and integrity, you are already an integrated person. So you don't have to prove anything to anybody, only to test yourself. How are we doing? Is this making sense? In 2012, we had some folks who were, again, in the course were other athletes and other performing artists. not just individual athletes and team athletes. These are skiers, cross-country skiers, downhill snowboarders. They were also different types of performing artists. And here's some things they as a group came up with. They said, nice people achieve nice results. You don't have to be evil. You don't have to be mentally tough in that old notion of it, is that nice people achieve nice results. One person said, superstar equals super dumb. A lot of the media hype is that you are becoming a superstar. A lot of people say, I don't want to do that. I've lost touch with myself if I'm worried about that external. They said superstar equals super dumb. They said ego, vanity, and false pride are killers to performance as well as identity. A couple people said this. When we talk about intensity or being stoic, they say smile, especially when you're losing. It matters, particularly for the next performance. Even though you may fail or come up short in that frustrating performance, smile during when the writing's on the wall, that you won't end up well. Not so much that you are shrugging it off, but smiling outwardly as well as into yourself sets you up for the next performance. Some of us older people grew up with different types of motivational posters that we had, and they had nice pictures and nice sayings. We had some of the performing artists say, become your own motivational poster. If you were to create a poster and put it on your wall, what would the picture be? And what would the saying be? Create your own motivational poster. Here's what some folks said that I thought was just wonderful. They said, learn how to compete with your best self. Your best efforts, the best things you showed or proved yourself in previous performances, that's your ideal competitor, is your best self. That you can compete with your best self, not to win, not to dominate, but to show it, to prove it. And then you can set the standards for a new best self with which to compete. Here is one thing in that course in 2012 that they start talking about, and it became its own subsection of that volume. And that is the notion of following through, whatever it means in the performance or the mini performances within the bigger performance. They said some wonderful things. If it's worth starting, it's worth finishing. And if it's worth starting well, it's worth finishing well. There's an old-fashioned phrase that says, dance with the girl you brung to the dance. Sure, you may not be fully ready, fully integrated, fully well-practiced, but use the things that you have at that moment and execute and do those things as well as you can. Dance with the girl you brung to the dance. Completely follow through with your game plan, fully implement it as early as you can in your performance. A couple of them said this, and they heard it from parents or coaches. The phrase too difficult is never a reason to stop. Along with that, they say giving up is a cancer of character. Persistence, perseverance, gutting it out, or just hanging in there are the cures. These are the glues to success. Perseverance, persistence, and gutting it out. Giving up is if you give up on something, even if it's on a little difficult section of a violin piece, if you give up on some physical skill in practice, that starts growing and expanding. If you give up on a little thing, it's easier to give up on bigger things. The antidote to that is persistence. They said this, and they had explained it to me, and that is, like ballerinas, learn how to stay on point. Find your own balance, your own edge, and those fine lines in performance, as in this toe shoe of ballerina dancers, of being on point. That is the key of good performances, is to stay so acutely sharp that you're on point. Here's one they brought up: complete the play. Full and rhythmically following through puts an exclamation point on the movement or the play. Following through is the mark of a master. Along with that, they said, go beyond the finish line, not just to it, go beyond it, run through those things. Okay, that's a lot of stuff for today's session. Again, do some monitoring of what one of those things made the most sense to you, reframe it, rephrase it in such ways that it makes it more personal for you. Replay this video, even the prior 2 videos, as ever you need to, is that you come with your own winning toolbox. Winners have learned about winning, succeeding from other folks, and they start embracing those and personalizing those things. Here's what we're going to do for the third practical volume in this series. And that is, we'll start out with the big performances, how to get ready, how to perform, how to finish off the big performances. Okay, go do your homework. We'll see you next time.